What's good with YouTube? You already know. Big Flocker from a convict's perspective, and I'm smashing, dashing, sliding on through with a little bit of energy. Please hit the like and subscribe, man. Help that algorithm and comment, man. Damn, I got a headache from last night, man. If you guys were on the lives last night, I was off the fucking hinges last night, man. But sometimes you got to be like that. You know what I mean? Anyways, as you can tell by the title, man, we're going to be talking about Nortenos de Mexico, right? And so, you know what, man? I'm going to go into like the current situation eventually, but you know what? I'm going to talk about my hood first, man, because back in the 80s and 90s, my hood was predominantly people that were from Mexico or from like Bolivia, Nicaragua, as well as we had a few other people, you know what I mean? We had a good little mixture, right? But everybody spoke mostly Spanish, you know what I'm saying? And but they banged Norte to the fullest, you know what I'm saying? So I'm going to discuss a little bit, and you're going to trip off a couple of these stories, man, because they're kind of a little bit unique. So I'm going to throw some pictures of some of these people, and we're going to get into it right now. So we always had really strong ties with individuals from Mexico City because particularly we had a homeboy named Little Man. But there was one homeboy I met that Little Man actually recruited when they were in Mexico. It's the homeboy right here. His name's BG, right? Now, there's a funny story about BG is this. He got his name one time when he came from Mexico City. He was probably 19, 20, and he was banging the hood. He was our homeboy Little Man's real close homeboy. So he was trying to say Billy one time, right? And he couldn't say Billy. He would say BG. So it stuck. We started calling him BG. You know what I mean? But he was a damn motherfucker, I'll tell you that right now. He was with the business. Like, he had welts on the back of his head from fighting it and so forth, man. He was just about that action. You know what I mean? Norte Milpas is how he banged, right? And when homeboy Mondo went to Mexico back in 90, I think it was 93 to visit, that's when he pulled homeboy over there. He came back with pictures of about 4 dudes from Mexico City that were all wearing red rags and they were throwing up M's. This is one of the individuals he brought back. Me and him ended up being close. I got some stories, me and him, right? Where me and him would go out cruising. He had a 63 Bel Air. So we'd be smashing it, but I had a license. And so when he'd hit up the females, he'd be like, "Hey, what's your name, girl?" Right? And sometimes they would trip out because at that time, a lot of Sureños didn't really speak as good English. And they would ask us, "Are you guys Sureños?" Right? And it'd be a fucking trip, right? I'd start fucking laughing my ass off. But he was definitely with it, man. He wasn't bound down to nobody. You know what I mean? And so I remember one night with the other homeboy, the other Chilango, Little Man, a fight kicked off on San Antonio and King. We were getting off with these other vatos and shit. And I remember I took off on this one dude, man. And then I started fucking, I just put dips on this. And I look to the right and I see that there's 2 people on the floor, right? We were outnumbered, but we were smashing these fools, right? So I thought it was my homeboy Victor, because Victor was pretty big. He had that little Veterano look, but he's only like 20, 21 at the time, but he was like pretty swole. So I started running. I seen that the dude was on top of Victor, so I go and I fucking tackled this dude. And next thing you know, I get picked up from behind. Like, literally, dudes came from behind. They slammed me on my fucking head on the concrete. And I felt one kick and it stopped. You know why? Because the homeboy BZ right here stabbed the dude. He ended up stabbing 2 fucking dudes. And I get up and shit, and I fucking brush off. And we're like on King Road. And I'm like, fucking stick that puto, stick that motherfucker. BG was chasing these dudes, man. He stabbed like 2 of them. And we heard different rumors about who it potentially may have been at that time. But, you know, that was definitely, you know, how gangbanging was at that time. I think it was some homeboys from San Jose. I think one of them may have been from Horseshoe or something, because one of the homeboys said that they were talking about how we stabbed one of them over there. This happened in 96, and it happened over a chick named Sylvia that used to stay off of, Waverly. Was it Waverly or Ocala? It was somewhere right there, I think. It was Waverly. Yeah. So some stuff kicked off, man. But definitely, man, he was always about that action, man. Anytime he was ready to go. You know what I'm saying? Now, here's a picture, man, of him and the other Chilango's fucking son, man. That's right there. It's BG, and that's the homeboy, you know what I'm saying, Little Man. He passed away. They went to go put in some work, man. He was from the hood, BMN, and he ended up getting shot by accident, man. Rest in peace to him, man. Much love and much respects. So now we're going to get into pretty soon about this individual's father, as well as his homeboy, our homeboy Little Man, who had a very strong reputation out there in fucking Milpitas. This dude had motherfucking hands. He would put tips on dudes that were fucking like twice his size, man. He had heart. You know what I mean? Down for whatever, man. I mean, he was doing crimes and teaching us stuff at a young age that was like new to all of us and shit, man. I lived with him personally, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, we lived together. We were real close, man. If there was someone I could count on, it was always him, man. I could count on him more than anybody from anywhere else, man. He was going to be there, man. He was that type of dude. Loyal, fucking respectful. Definitely about that business. You know what I mean? We used to always clown him and shit, man. You know what I'm saying? We used to all clown each other. That's just how it was. You know, we called the one homeboy, we called him Mocote and shit. You know what I mean? Me, they used to call Pollo Loco, and then motherfucking the homeboy Chuco, they called Baca Loco. I mean, Baca Loca. Once again, man, been in some hella incidents with him, man. As far back as a kid, man, I seen that motherfucker get off, and I was like, damn, this motherfucker's with it. I don't have too many pictures. Thanks for the people that assisted me. But there goes a younger picture of the homeboy, man. He basically came over here from Mexico when he was like 16 or 17, was living on the streets in LA first, then got to fucking to Milpitas somehow. And, you know, he was embraced into Barrio de Chicanos, and then they became VMLs. But he was like pretty much the unsaid leader of our fucking, of the hood back then as a kid, man. You know what I'm saying? I mean, he did some shit that it was like the homeboy said he came alive, man. You would just be shocked at some of the shit that he did, man. I mean, there was another picture of him right there, man. But yeah, he had roots to Mexico, and he went over there and started recruiting homeboys in 93, believe it or not. Brought one back. You know what I'm saying? So we had with battles over there in Mexico City. So, you know, we already had those ties. And we also had a lot of homeboys that were also from other fucking places like Nicaragua, Bolivia, you know, other parts of Mexico as well. You know, Jalisco was pretty popular at that time, man. And so my hood traditionally all spoke Spanish. So I naturally picked up on speaking Spanish pretty good as a kid. Now, there's a picture of me and him. This is probably back in 2001, man. I'm just out. We're chilling on a boat, man, and we're just posted up and shit, man. But like I said, this was one of my close homeboys, man. That pretty much even as I got out of prison, I had status, man. I always fucking respected him, man, more than a lot of other dudes, man. You know what I'm saying? Even some of the homeboys from you know, the regiment always respected his get down too and shit. You know what I'm saying? Because he was different than other motherfuckers. He didn't care, but he was respectful and shit, man. And we went through a lot of shit together, man. You know what I'm saying? A lot of stuff. I mean, getting off with Nortenos where we're outnumbered. He wasn't running from shit. He's the one that kicked off the riot. I think it was September 16th or Boulevard Nights downtown in 1995. That was him. He got arrested for cracking one with a cane. You know, there's a more updated picture of him, man. He's getting older in age, man. Probably shit pushing 50 about now. You know what I mean? I think when he came over here, I think he was probably about 25 and saying he was 16 and shit with his fucking papers and shit, man. But his cousins used to run one of the spots at the Tropicana to sell the fucking cards and shit, and ended up selling the spot for like 30 racks back in the days. Like they had a whole section right there at the Tropicana and shit. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, interesting vatos and shit. You know what I mean? You know, and you know, his sons got in the hood. They used to live with us, man. And one of them passed away and shit, man. So I know he took that to heart. You know what I mean? But, you know, the ties to Mexico, like I said, man, we had a lot of homeboys and shit, man. Like homeboy Chore, the homeboy Estraño. You know what I mean? The homeboys Robert and Alex, they're from Bolivia, you know. The Nicaraguans, fucking all kinds of homeboys. I mean, I'd say more than half the hood were not born in the United States at that time. You know what I'm saying? Or they came over here and they were at a very young age. You know what I mean? You know, there goes a picture. There goes homeboy in the back, the black shirt. The one, the white shirt, I talk about him a couple of times. I say that he was from Milpas in Capital Park. That's Leonard Moreno, Joker. The bigger one, the one that's in the middle. Next to the dude with the red sweatshirt. And a couple of those homeboys right there from Mexico, right there. That's back in like 92. Those are all, that's back in like when we started first pushing VMLs and stuff. Gang of homeboys right there. All 18, look at the homeboy with the bald head. Shit, he looks like he's a fucking OG, but he's only 18 at the time, man. You know what I'm saying? This is way back in the days, man. And this is the final picture I got of the homeboy Mondo, man. Right there. These are his kids. The one with the peace signs, he's the one that passed away. The other one to the right, he's still banging the hood. You know what I mean? He's from BMN. You know what I'm saying? But I knew these kids since they were yay high, man. They used to live with me and shit. They used to see like a lot of stuff that we should have been teaching them back then. Like, got in a fight one time. I smashed on some cat, and the cat was I was beating the shit out the dude so bad that he was crawling on his knees trying to get away from me. Homeboy Mondo opened the door and he tried to go up in Mondo's room with the kids in there and shit. I had to fucking yank him out. So I feel bad at some of the stuff that we let these kids see, man. But now let's talk about what's going on over there in Mexico with the Nortenos from Mexico. You know, I wanted to first talk a little bit about, you know, my hood. Because, you know, like I said, we had a lot of homeboys that were from fucking Mexico and so forth, man. And that was always known. The fucking homeboys from Milpas, man, they spoke Spanish. And then to this day, the youngsters out there, I'd say more than half of them are either from Mexico or speak fluent Spanish and shit. You know, I know the times have changed a little bit, man, but, you know, that's one thing that people can say about our hood, man, was that we did not push people away just because they were from Mexico. You know, we didn't do that. You know, the stuff that Wedo experienced, the homeboy from by the Malitos. Nah, we didn't do none of that stuff, man. But we're gonna get into this, man. Now, the thing about the Norteños in Mexico, right, is that they've been establishing and pretty much branching off and, and creating their own little circle out there, man. The NOR records, man, it's a big thing out there in Mexico at this time, man. Once again, we had homeboys from the hood that were associated with the NOR, man. There goes the homeboy Olsen right there also, man. This homeboy is Vietnamese and Mexican, believe it or not, man. Speaks fluent Spanish, and he was about 6'1", bro. And he was Vietnamese and Mexican. This dude had straight knockouts. Now, he was on the run for some shit that happened out there, and I think it was West Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, one of those areas, man. They raided a business that they had and found all kinds of weed and heroin and stuff, man. So he migrated. He was, went through Louisiana and ended up in Mexico and stuff, man. When he got over there, he started to associate himself with the NOR cats, Northern Organized Records. You know what I'm saying? So he was over there pushing a hard line, man. Like, he went from, like, when I seen him, he was trying to do the family thing and kick on back to he was out there banging again. You know what I'm saying? He was on the run. He was on borrowed time. And so he ended up getting killed. Say they ended up kicking with some females in an area where they had funk with these dudes. These dudes came and lit him up. So they went back and lit them back up. You know what I mean? When I talk about lit up. So he ends up getting arrested. So he comes out the police station and he gets killed right there in front of the police station. Pretty much was set up by the cops out there in Mexico City is what happened, man. But, yeah, like I said, man, he was out there pushing the NOR, you know what I'm saying? And he wasn't there because he got deported. He wasn't there like a lot of these other cases, man. He was there because he was on the run. So there was a lot of other homeboys, you know what I'm saying? I'm not going to mention no names that are also over there from the hood that are on the run. And there's also a lot of homeboys that's been deported, and see what happened is just like how they did with the MS-13, how they started to deport people because they were gang members and crimes. They did that the same thing with people who were from Mexico. They started pushing a harder stance of deporting people, and people decided to stay over there. What happens? You start to fucking establish your groups. You start to recruit, And now a lot of them want to stay over there in Mexico. They got it made over there, as well as their contacts over here. Now, with all these deportations, man, what's going on? They got, like I said, they got people in Mexico City. They got people in Rosarito, TJ, fucking Jalisco, all kinds of different areas, man. And they're out there just doing their thing, man. And see, this is kind of making it interesting. Not to say that any particular group is out there pushing any agenda, but now you got individuals that are from your fucking hood. You could be from any hood, Norteño hood, right? Now they got direct ties across the border because a lot of these homeboys are going to have homeboys that are deported. They plug in when they're out there. Now you got the contacts, man. Now, NOR is a big thing out there, even though there's a lot of dudes that just are homeboys too as well. And I will say this, that everything that NOR has been doing has been the right thing. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you can get the feds could try to sit there and fucking bring attention and whatnot. Well, you guys are pushing the Norte music. If you listen to it, they may be pushing Norte music, but they ain't really pushing any type of illicit type of activities in their songs. They're just representing the Norte where they're from. And they're making money. They're pushing a lot of albums. They're pushing out CDs, videos, and so forth, man. They're able to do things over there in Mexico without the scrutiny that you would have in the United States. You're a Norteño rapper in California, you're going to have all kinds of attention, man. So I don't really care about the intricate details of how they function, but I'll say this. In all the years that I was out there active in the things that we were involved in, illicit and legal, this is the one type of faction that I see that has doing things almost in accordance to what would be expected with the least amount of attention to illicit activities, but the most attention to what they're doing, which is like they're making music. Nothing wrong with that. You know what I'm saying? They're over the border anyways. You can't get them on no fucking I don't think they can get them on just a music indictment for making music. Anyways, it seems like they have a lot of unity over there. They have get-togethers, respect, and it seems like they hold the value of the old type of core beliefs that used to be instilled in a lot of gente. Kind of contrary to what you see individuals that are with the state. You don't see as much unity and so forth, man. And, you have more individualism in the state. And, with this, you have less, people boasting about their statuses. As we already know, there's a few people out that way that have status, and we don't have to put their names out there, but they're not doing anything to really push any type of agenda. So, see, the deportation brought more access to Mexico. And now I'm pretty sure that they're over there establishing shop, and now they're able to recruit locally. It's the same way they did with MS-13 and 18th Street when they deported them. So the government's like, man, okay, let's get rid of these gang members. Now you're going to breed a whole new amount of gang members that are still going to come over. You know what I'm saying? And these guys are going to adapt to different types of, resources and contacts, and everybody's going to have an individual push for whatever they're doing, man. So this is pretty much how the Nortenos from Mexico are. You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody has a contact now, and with cell phones and fucking WhatsApp and Snapchat and all this stuff, you have so much access and connection with everybody. It doesn't matter if you're fucking in Mexico or you're fucking in Washington. You can still maintain contact and do what you got to do. And with all these tours, right? Like Onion and stuff like that, you can go on a hidden fucking site and pretty much be able to communicate through encrypted emails and encrypted sites to where they're gonna have a hard time trying to infiltrate what you're doing. So the magnitude of the game's changed. It's evolved. You know what I'm saying? I never thought that they would have a presence like they do in Mexico, man. Like, look at these heads. They have numbers. They have hundreds of Nortenos in some areas out there, man. But it's not just Mexico City. It's in a variety of states. Now, I'm pretty sure that they have to play their position and be respectful. You know what I'm saying? There's probably a lot more different types of business interactions out there. It's probably less gangbanging, more business. But they're out there, man. The Nortenos in Mexico, man. And back in the days, there was a lot of carnales that would get sent over there and they would just disappear, You know what I'm saying? Like the Carnal Chilo. I don't know whatever happened to Mono from Oakland. All these cats got deported, man. But now, as well as Payaso. I remember Payaso, Arturo Torres, came down from, he came all the way back from Mexico to catch a case just to report because his channels, he didn't know, had flipped. His channels were fucking Big Rock and I think Roach at the time. Big Rock, let me see who else. Yeah, Big Rock, Roach, and a few others. So now, you get deported to Mexico, you already have contacts now. You already have your communications. You don't have to worry about nothing. You know what I mean? There's no incommunicado. There's no nothing. The only ones that are going to be incommunicado are the ones that are locked up if they have no access for communications. So the game don't change, man. And like I said, in Mexico, the Norteños are a lot more deeper, you know what I'm saying, than people realize, man. And, they may never have a establishment in Southern California, which I doubt will ever happen. But their presence in Mexico, I don't think it could be exterminated. I think it's only going to grow. Anyways, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this videos. Give you guys a little bit of insight into my personal relationship with a lot of homeboys, man. Like, we had homeboys from way back in the day that were from Mexico, man. This was nothing new to us, man. We embraced them. We pushed that agenda. A lot of good gente came out of that way. Anyways, yeah, I got a lot of things to still figure out, man. Like I did a video, man. I plan on either taking a break pretty soon, maybe by New Year's. You know what I mean? Be less on and maybe get a job. I don't know. There's so much stuff that revolves around me making that decision. So right now I'm trying to analyze and make the best decision for me, Like I think I said last night when I was fucking all fucked up, it has to do a lot with my personal relationships, you know what I mean? That I need to fix, you know what I mean? But if there ain't no fixing them, then there's no reason for me to step away. I could just keep on doing what I got to do, man. But, I'm willing to do whatever I need to do to fix all the areas of problems that I've created based upon being on YouTube and letting it consume me, man. So, pray for your boy, man. I'm trying to do the right thing, I always make a lot of mistakes and I always self-sabotage. That's a problem, man. I could give anybody else insight, anybody else fucking advice, but I can't do it for my own fucking self. I'll make the worst decisions because I just am what I am at times, man. And no matter who you are, you can't change the way I think when I think something. It doesn't matter who the fuck you are. I'm going to think it. Anyways, we'll see what happens, guys. You know what I'm saying? That is hopefully the goal, man. It's for me to try to put my life in that of the relationships I have first, man. Because, there's a lot of difficult stuff that happens, man. A lot of motherfuckers be hating, man. Trust me on that, man. And YouTube really caused a lot of tension and friction, you know what I'm saying, based upon that, because I'm not one to bow down to shit. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, it's your boy Flacco. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. We'll see what happens, though, man. I'm going to keep this shit pushing. Much respects, everyone out there. Have a positive, productive day. We'll see what happens, man.